you amazing beautiful people, and welcome back to another first time reaction video. So this is one that has been popping up my recommendations for a little bit, and I don't even know what this one is actually going to be. We've been checking out a lot of extreme weather videos out of America. We're still going to continue down the tornado rabbit hole, and I still really want to check out more from America. People have told me to check out dust storms and sandstorms and all different kinds of things. There's a very famous Japanese video that people have been recommending as well that we're probably going to react to, and I feel like this extreme weather rabbit hole that we're going down is one that is like both sad and heartbreaking, but also super curious. This is our world and we're living here, and there's so much that people who live in certain parts just don't see. Like me here living in the UK, we don't have anything like this. We don't have like tsunamis, we don't have tornadoes, we don't have earthquakes, we don't have anything. The most extreme weather we have is what we're having right now, just a warm summer. So for me, this is literally like an alien reacting to Earth. It's something that's just so far from anything I'm used to, which is why I think I'm really enjoying this series and why I guess a lot of you are as well. And this, like I said, is a video that a bunch of people asked me to check out. It's actually Swiggle Studios' most popular video, and it only came out 5 months ago. And it is simply called The Night Texas Hit 60 degrees Celsius during a thunderstorm. I cannot even fathom that kind of heat, and in Texas, in America. I have no idea what this video is even going to be about, but a lot of people have told me to check it out if I want to see a different sort of style of weather that you guys get in America. So let's check it out together, shall we? Please go support Swiggle Studios. They are a wonderful channel and they put together a lot of these incredible videos. Link to their channel in the description. If you're enjoying my reactions, please like and please subscribe. And like I always do on my videos, whichever subscriber's comment gets the most likes, I'll record a reaction to that next. So all you need to do, subscribe, leave a comment, and like the comments you agree with. But for now, let's jump into my first time ever reaction to The Night Texas Hit 140 degrees Fahrenheit, 60 degrees Celsius during a thunderstorm.
The date, June 15th, 1960. The location, the very small town of Kopperl, Texas.
I thought it was going to be modern. 1960 this happened. Why do I feel like it's going to be even worse?
It was a typical, beautiful summer evening. Skies were clear and the temperature was a comfortable 70 degrees Fahrenheit. But a line of strong thunderstorms was forecasted to roll in through the middle of the night.
Wait, it went from
This
20
was not
to
something that
60.
was unusual. Central Texas and much of the plains in general encounter nocturnal thunderstorms all the time during the summer. So nobody in town gave the upcoming thunderstorm much thought. Parents put down their children for the night and went to bed. But as the storm passed over around midnight, everyone in town suddenly woke up. Was it a large bolt of lightning? No. Was it the sirens going off, warning of an approaching tornado? No. It was actually a massive and sudden spike in temperature. According to those who witnessed the event, within a matter of minutes, the temperature outside became extremely hot. Thermometers on buildings climbed all the way up until they maxed out at 140 degrees Fahrenheit, or 60 degrees Celsius.
I've just realized something. This is nighttime as well. This is in the dark. How is that even possible? What caused that increase in temperature? The sun isn't even out. I don't understand.
During the thunderstorm, something strange caused the temperature to rise by nearly 50 degrees within only a few minutes. On top of the temperature spike, it was also extremely windy, and people panicked. Parents covered their children with wet towels, some rushed to underground cellars with cooler temperatures, and some even thought it was the end of the world. And this heat didn't just last for a few minutes. No, it stayed near 140 degrees for 4 sweltering hours. It wouldn't be until 4 a.m. that the heat and the winds finally died down. The townsfolk were so affected by this heat thunderstorm, they called the event Satan's Storm.
I don't understand. What the heck caused this? And again, at nighttime. That is unbelievable levels of heat. Like when you're saying children were like running to cover, parents running to cover their kids. Yeah, you'd be so scared.
The next morning, the residents of Kopperl were eager to find out what happened, so they tuned in to the local news. What caused this freak heat storm? But to their surprise, nothing was mentioned about it on the news. Interestingly, this heat burst thunderstorm thing only seemed to happen over the town of Kopperl. No other towns or cities in Texas reported a similar temperature spike. This further added to the mystery. Now, 140 degrees Fahrenheit 60 degrees Celsius is a crazy outside temperature. Keep in mind, the highest official temperature ever recorded on this planet, like anywhere ever, is 134 degrees Fahrenheit, recorded in Death Valley, California on July 10th in 1913.
Wait, California has the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth. America, what are you lot doing over there, man? What are you lot doing? You guys got tornadoes blasting through your damn country. You got the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth. America is an alien planet, man. What the frick is going on over there? Damn. And that was the hottest temperature ever recorded. And then randomly one night Texas just broke that record at nighttime. I guarantee that was midday.
So with this supposed heat wave thunderstorm actually
that place is called Furnace Creek. Jeez.
Happened, like the townsfolk claim, it would be the highest temperature ever recorded. So the question is, did this event actually happen? Well, surprisingly, the evidence suggests yes.
I gotta know what the heck this is.
The question on whether this freak heat wave Satan storm actually occurred, we need to find some primary sources and eyewitness testimonies from the people who were actually there during the event. And honestly,
you know what? There's not one part of me that ever didn't believe him. It just was like a weird thing to make up. Of course I believe him.
One rather annoying aspect about this whole Satan's storm weather event is that there really isn't much info about it online or anywhere. It, in many ways, just seems like a piece of Texas folklore. But we do have reports about the event taken around that time. There was one journalist who traveled to the town after the event, WBAP-TV's photojournalist Floyd Bright. Bright filmed the extreme wind damage and interviewed several eyewitnesses. I searched forever for this footage. YouTube, the Internet Archive. A lot of other people were looking for this footage too, so I thought for sure it was lost media. But I somehow was actually able to find this footage online. It was in the North Texas University archives. How crazy.
And was anyone else just waiting for him just to say that he didn't find it? And he did find it? I'm so invested in this investigation. This feels super different to the other stuff we've checked out. This is like, did this event happen? And we're like, I don't know. Did it happen? Let's find out, man. Maybe it happened.
Easy as that. Anyway, I received the footage, and here's what he captured.
This is real. This is so cool.
Various examples of strong wind damage. And the wind damage definitely was significant.
This is his footage. This is real footage. This is an incredible video. Whoa. Oh, a bunny. Ah. That's a big bunny. Nah.
Clearly, the winds were quite strong. I mean, look at this small convenience store. It looks like it was hit by an EF1 or EF2 tornado.
Got the old American looking fridges.
Wind damage.
I'll say that the townsfolk seem pretty seem pretty awesome, to be honest. Like they all seem smiley and happy and friendly. It's like a nice town.
Image is cool and all, but we're here to talk about the heat. So let's get to the actual interviews.
We have the interviews as well.
Well, about 12 o'clock last night, the lights and the air conditioners went off. So we went outside where we thought it'd be cooler, but instead of being cooler,
Wait, air conditioning in the 60s? When was air conditioning invented?
temperature is about 100 degrees, and just like a hot blast of air out of the oven hit you in the face when you went out there. It's so hot you couldn't stay out there. And I called the electric power company and was telling them about how strong the wind was and the power was out. And J.D., what?
Well, our crew that started down here, they reported back to me on the radio that it was so hot in the truck and they thought that the heater was on. So they checked the heater to make sure the heater wasn't on. How hot was it?
Well, it was over 100 degrees.
Was it hard to breathe?
Well, you couldn't hardly breathe. It's just like you stick your head in the oven. George and I went to the dock several times, about 3 times. and his car got hot. The water was boiling in his radiator.
Many people had an extremely difficult time breathing, and wet towels were used to cool the air around their mouths to relieve some of their breathing difficulties, especially with...
I don't even know what that must be like. What must it be like for your body to be breathing in heat like that? I mean, it's literally like a temperature on an oven. You put that on to like preheat your fucking oven. That's not even a joke. That's true. If your oven was set to 60 degrees Celsius, you wouldn't be able to put your hand in there and touch stuff. It would cook the ground. The ground would be boiling hot. On a day where temperatures reach 25, 30 degrees Celsius, they cook the ground. The ground becomes too hot to walk on barefoot. Sand becomes too hot on beaches. And that's like a 25 degrees plus, right? Celsius. So at double that temperature, can you imagine how hot everything would be around you?
Children and older adults.
Well, there was one woman that
I suppose someone died.
didn't know how to breathe, and they had to put wet handkerchiefs on their nose so they could breathe because the air was so hot that it nearly suffocates you if you didn't have a wet towel or something that could moisten air.
It's like a
One of the
kid
best
got
ways to
grown up's
escape the
voice.
heat during the event was to seek shelter in a storm cellar, since temperatures were cooler underground. One local farmer actually opened up his storm cellar to almost 20 people.
What were your experiences during the storm?
Well, the wind kept blowing and couldn't sleep. And my ears were popping, so I just thought I'd get up and go down to the storm house. Had a half bed down there and go down there and stay a while. Down there about an hour, and a lot of company came in. About 19, I believe, in all told.
I was still in bed in the house.
I love this kind of like community, like all these people in this random town in Texas. Like, he's not even not even complaining, not even like angry about it, just like laughing it off. It's like, yeah, 19 people joined us. Of course, we let them in. It's just nice. It's this sense of community. It's sad that so many of these like extreme weather videos we've reacted to show the best in people, and I don't mean that part's sad. I mean it's sad that that's what has to happen, and then you just see how these amazing people just come together, wonderful communities of people.
That's when they came, so I got up and joined the crowd.
Well, we raised the window in our house, and the wind was so hot I thought the house was on fire, so we came over to Hokey's cellar, and I was the second one in there, and there he was in his shorts.
Another eyewitness of the event told their story on Reddit. I lived on a farm outside of Kopperl when this happened. I was 9 years old, and I remember waking up in the middle of the night when our old window water cooler went off. It was eerily silent, and then the house was hit by a strong and hot wind. My father decided we needed to go to the storm cellar outside the back door, and we stayed in there for quite a while. Later, we saw the large advertising thermometer at Riddle's bait shop in Kopperl had burst from the heat. On the news, we saw photos of someone's cotton field, and all the plants were scorched. Very, very strange. Now, real quick, let's talk about that thermometer. In fact, let's talk about the 140-degree temperature, because
This is something I want to know. How did that happen? What was the freaking cause? What caused this to happen? A whole town to turn into a mini oven?
nowhere in any of the interviews did someone mention 140 degrees. In fact, the only mention of an actual thermometer was right here.
I got up about midnight, and it was so hot. I came out here to see just how hot it was. This thermometer was sitting on 100 degrees, and I think it got hotter than that afterwards.
I guess that could imply 140 degrees, but I'm not so sure. One primary source that did mention the 140-degree temperature was an article in the Clifton Record. The article was titled, "Freak Heat Wave Hits Lake Whitney." By the way, Lake Whitney is a lake that Kopperl is located on. Tuesday night, residents in the vicinity of a lakeside village in Mooney Village experienced a freak weather condition that caused considerable damage and aroused fear among the residents.
I like this video a lot. It's not like any of the other weather videos we've checked out. It's got a completely different vibe to it. And this kind of like investigative style of video I find very intriguing. Because we start off with like the question, you know, like this town hit 140 degrees, 60 degrees. Where did we get that figure from? How, like, did it happen? And if so, what could cause it to happen?
Intense night heat that generated distant storms unroofed a number of buildings, toppling power poles and trees. The temperature climbed to 96 degrees. The weatherman reported that the temperature must have reached nearly 140 degrees for a brief time in spots. Pressure dropped swiftly, and glass in the Mooney store shattered outward. A number of residents sought safety in a storm cellar. So that's all the evidence we really have for 140 degrees, but we do have some other evidence. Another more tangible piece of evidence might be the burned crops. A local farmer named Pete Burns, yes, literally his last name is Burns.
I was actually literally about to pause and make a comment about that, so I guess I don't need to.
Anyway, Mr. Burns reported that his
Mr.
cotton
Burns!
stalks had darkened and changed color, and that you could crush them with your hands almost like as if it had been frozen in liquid nitrogen.
I plowed this cotton yesterday, and it was right pretty stand of it. Today you can see it looks like a blowtorch has been run over it. And the same way with the corn right across the road here. The leaves had all burnt off of it. We also cut some hay. Normally it'd take about 2 days for it to cure, and it was cured overnight. We had such a hot wind. Baling it now.
This journalist did a great job because he actually tried to record the sound of the crop breaking apart as if it was burnt. I think that's awesome.
Now open it up.
Even earlier in the video, he filmed like a cinematic scene of a car pulling up to some damage, and then he switched to the two men.
I agree, actually. I was thinking this because when he said that this is real footage, when he showed this, I was like, it doesn't really look like real footage. Like, because of that. Like, it feels like something in a movie. The journalist did a great job.
Walking out of the car.
The fact that we have this footage is so cool.
That's some pretty cool stuff. I love that. Since this occurred before the modern meteorological era, we really don't have any true data that it actually got that hot. We have no data from the event. All we have are just little pieces of evidence like burnt cotton and eyewitness testimonies. I mean, clearly it got super hot out with the breathing difficulties and people trying to escape their houses because they thought they were on fire.
The thing is, either way, that temperature at nighttime is weird. Like, regardless of how hot it got, whether it reached 140 or not, that's still shocking for midnight.
This kind of environment does sound like it could really only happen in an extreme heat, like around the 130 degrees Fahrenheit range. Unfortunately though, like I said, no proper measurements were taken at the time, so no one truly knows how hot it actually got. If only this event had happened today. Well, actually, a very similar event did happen much more recently. On August 23rd, 2011, the townspeople of Atlantic, Iowa were going about their day when suddenly the temps went up. A lot. But this time, it didn't happen in the middle of the night. No, it happened in the late afternoon, early evening, around 5:55 p.m. Everything was chill, everything was calm, the temp was 84 degrees. It's a little hot, but you know, nothing unusual. The dew point was 75 degrees and the winds were near 5 miles per hour. But within 5 minutes, the winds picked up to 20 miles per hour and the temp went up to 86 degrees. Okay, that's not too bad, only 2 degrees. But then, 10 minutes later, around 6:15, the wind was blowing at a brisk 60 miles per hour and the temp continued to go up to 93 degrees. The dew point had also dropped to 54 degrees. So the temp went up about 7 degrees in only 15 minutes. But it wasn't over yet. Over the next hour until 7:05 p.m., the temperature would rise even more, up to 102 degrees Fahrenheit, and the dew point plummeted to 7 degrees. At this peak heat, the wind...
I don't know what the dew point means. I don't know what that means. You guys need to... Can someone let me know in the comment section what a dew point is? That happening again in the evening... What? I want to know what causes this. What the frick causes this?
Surprisingly died down to only 3 miles per hour. Within an hour, the temp went up nearly 20 degrees, and the Iowans noticed.
Weird weather gets Iowans talking, and today our Eric Hansen found out that in towns all across southwest Iowa, people were asking, did you feel what moved through town just before sunset?
I noticed the temperature change.
I felt this heat rising up through the window, and I said to my husband, you need to come here.
It just felt like when you open your oven after it's been preheated.
It was just like that. It was just a gust of hot air, just exactly like the blow dryer.
As if you had just turned on a heater and it was coming at your face.
With winds up to 60 miles an hour and plummeting humidity. But even crazier was how fast it left.
It was just a matter of minutes.
It just calmed down.
It was weird.
Mother Nature's not happy with us.
Everyone here in town knows exactly what it felt like, but no one really knows why it happened.
Of course,
That's my question. Stop blue balling me. Why did it happen? How the hell did this happen? In an hour, temperatures went up 20 degrees? That's not normal. In the evening? What the hell caused this?
Great thing about this event is that, unlike the Texas event in 1960, this time we have the data. Here's a graph showing the dew point and temperature over the time frame of the event provided by the Atlantic AWOS. There were also multiple other weather stations at schools that recorded the anomaly. The temperature and dew point data collected from these various schools clearly show the temperature slowly rising and then a sudden spike around 7:15.
Gosh, it's
They also
freaky.
showed the sudden wind speed increase. Clearly, the same phenomenon that happened in Kopperl, Texas in 1960 appears to have happened again.
So there has to be something happening which is generating this heat, but the heat maybe is coming from the wind? Honestly, what could it be?
The language is the same as well. Like the air felt like the heat when you open an oven.
It's just like a hot blast of air out of the oven hit you in the face when you went out there.
It just felt like when you open your oven after it's been preheated.
And clearly this sudden change in temperature was pretty impactful.
It was a big change, something that was extremely noticeable, not just minor.
This was like, I thought the house was on fire. I looked out the window to see if there was something going on because it was so sudden and so obvious.
So what is going on? What is up with these micro heat waves? Well, meteorologists have actually figured out exactly what's going on.
Hell yeah! Now that is what I want to hear. I was so worried that we were going to get like, nobody knows, goodbye, and the video just ends. And I'm like, I don't understand. The world's just heating up. We don't know why. We have answers.
Two events were caused by a very rare meteorological phenomenon known as the heat burst. So what is a heat burst?
I can't wait to know.
Well, a heat burst is a sudden yet brief wave of very hot wind. These occur when hot air lofted high up in the atmosphere, usually around 10 to 20,000 feet up, is suddenly blown down to the ground in a very similar mechanism to another much more common phenomenon that you probably have heard of, the downburst. Okay, so with any thunderstorm you have...
What is a downburst? I haven't heard of that. I am a weather novice. That's why we're doing this rabbit hole. What the hell is a downburst?
Pockets of moisture, rain, hail, up in the atmosphere, and this moisture then cools the surrounding air. Cool air is denser than warm air, so...
Wait, is this a downburst? Is he explaining this?
It falls rapidly and then can get flushed out onto the ground, for lack of a better term.
That's
okay,
a
but I just
downburst,
said cool air
okay.
there. How does it occur with hot air? Well, in an extremely rare circumstance...
So a downburst is like a flash sort of like rainfall, which I've actually seen. And I imagine most of you have seen as well, where all of a sudden just like heavy rain out of nowhere and then stops after like 5 minutes.
Cool moist air that originated high up into the, cumulonimbus cloud. As it falls, the rain and moisture evaporates, and as it evaporates, it becomes extremely dry, and then that air compresses, and that compression actually causes it to get super hot, and then all that hot air just onto the ground, and then boom, you get a heat wave down on the surface. They usually occur when the parent thunderstorm is decaying, and they usually occur during the night. Let's go back to the Atlantic Iowa example and look at the data to see how this particular heat burst formed.
That's so
Here
interesting.
is a sounding chart, a vertical view of the atmosphere near Omaha around 7 p.m. as the heat burst was occurring over Iowa. This line represents the temperature, and do you see...
So these are actually probably way more common than this video is showcasing. Like, based on the sounds, it's not like some rare phenomenon that needs to, like this, the stars need to align in order for it to happen. It doesn't sound that uncommon, does it? It doesn't sound like it needs to meet like complicated criteria in order to be possible.
See how it suddenly gets hotter as it descends through the atmosphere? It's heating up through compression. Here's a velocity scan of the high wind reported during the heat burst near Guthrie. Now, this entire area likely got super hot, but it's believed that this specific high velocity area had the highest temperatures. Unfortunately, no one was actually in this area at the time to record the true top temp. So what are some other verified,
Wonder how hot it
keyword
got then.
verified, we'll talk about unverified later, heat bursts throughout history? Well, the very first mention of the heat burst phenomenon may have been in Georgia in 1860. A Scientific America article, volume 3, 106, stated, "A hot wind extending about 100 yards in width lately passed through middle Georgia."
By the way, just huge shout out to Swiggle Studios. Like, these videos are freaking incredible, aren't they? The amount of detail and knowledge and like fact finding and everything. Swiggle Studios, you are amazing.
Georgia, and scorched up cotton crops on a number of plantations. A hot wind also passed through a section of Kansas. It burned up the vegetation in its track, and several persons fell victim to the poisonous blast. It lasted for a very short period, during which the thermometer stood at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Sounds a lot like a heat burst.
It does.
In terms of the record in swing in temperature, like the greatest temperature climb of a verified heat burst, that occurred during a heat burst in 2008 in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Around 4 a.m. on August 3rd, 2008 in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, during a thunderstorm, the wind suddenly picked up and the temperature went from 70 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 101 degrees Fahrenheit in only 15 minutes. It went up a massive 31 degrees.
Can you imagine what that must be like? Can you imagine us, like, these people talking about, like, they thought their house was on fire? You would be terrified. You would think the world was ending. If you're just sitting there and all of a sudden it gets super, super, super hot, you would think game over, it's over. Like, you would. Though, like, I would. And I'm not even, like, someone who believes in, like, the end of the world. But I would be like, it's over.
Around 3:45,
but that is
in the morning,
crazy.
Campers at Wall Lake contacted police to report
crazy.
Strong winds and unusually high temperatures. There was also a significant pressure drop during the incident. And this is interesting because a major pressure drop was also recorded during the Kopperl, Texas heat burst in 1960. In fact, one farmer during the event stated that his ears were popping.
Yeah.
My ears were popping, so I just thought I'd get up and go down Storm House.
It was also noted that the windows of a local store broke outward due to the low pressure. That's probably the wind. I don't know. But as you can see, a similar pressure drop was recorded in Sioux
It is interesting how it does seem like they haven't really cleaned up the store too much, and the glass, there's no glass on the inside of the building though.
Falls in 2008. And then the pressure quickly returned to its previous level as the storm dissipated. The highest verified temperature ever recorded during a heat burst was in Phoenix, Arizona on July 28, 1995, where the temp climbed from 106 degrees Fahrenheit to only 114 degrees Fahrenheit. So,
oh, Oni. That, that's nothing, man. Like, whatever. Only 114? Whatever. Says the British guy.
so not quite 140. Also, this is kind of crazy, but one heat burst actually just occurred like last week. Like, as I was recording this video and doing research, like one happened. There was a significant
they are
heat burst
quite
in
common.
Viewbank, Australia in the middle of the night on January 9th,
Australia?
2026. The temperature went from 18 degrees Celsius at 2 a.m. to 36 degrees Celsius at 4 a.m. and then all the way back down to 18 degrees Celsius by 5:30 a.m.
That is crazy.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah,
But if you want to talk,
that is well fucking crazy. That is a double temperature increase, and Celsius as well. That is so, and at nighttime, that is well hot.
Crazy, then we should discuss unverified heat bursts, because these really are crazy.
All right,
For example,
hit me with the crazy.
Apparently in Portugal on July 6, 1949, the temperature went from 38 degrees Celsius all the way up to 70 degrees Celsius in, are you ready, 2 minutes. That's crazy. What? That's some extreme weather right there. This was apparently possible because this heat burst just happened to occur during a significant heat wave. One newspaper article at the time stated that the blast of hot air to the people encountering it felt like being licked by fiery tongues. Does not sound pleasant at all. In terms...
Nah, not really. I mean, like, licked by fiery tongues. I mean, you know, maybe. Literal fire? No. I always, like, choose to give people the benefit of the doubt here. Like, it would seem weird to just make up a story like that. But that is crazy hot. That is like, could you even live in that?
Of unverified heat bursts, the max temp ever recorded was an outstanding 188 degrees Fahrenheit, or 87 degrees Celsius, shade temperature in June 1967 in Abadan, Iran. That's wow. Apparently, and unfortunately, this event killed 12 men. So yeah, mystery solved. Now we know the mechanisms behind these so-called Satan storms.
As a British person, Fahrenheit is irrelevant to me, so what is 188 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius? 86 degrees Celsius! Wow. Yeah, that can't be true. I'll choose to believe him. Because it said 12 people died, and I'm not about to say like that didn't happen, but that is insane.
Did it really get up to 140 degrees Fahrenheit in Texas in 1960? Well, anything 140 plus kind of seems a little crazy to me, to be honest. They might have been exaggerating a little bit, but I mean, clearly something happened. I personally believe it was probably around 130 degrees. I mean, the heat was clearly substantial enough for the locals to make a big deal out of it. And it also lasted for so long, 4 hours. That's not very typical of a normal heat burst. So there is still a little bit of a mystery with that event. But overall, we have a good idea of what happened.
That is kind of true. It doesn't seem like they last that long. This one lasted 4 hours.
The heat burst phenomenon is likely one we will encounter more in the future, and perhaps one extreme example soon will be fully documented and will finally break that 100-year-old 136 degree heat record in Death Valley.
Yay!
Quick announcement, there's a new members-only video on mega cryometeors.
There you go. If you want to check out Mega Cryo Media's, he's got a members-only video over on his channel. You can go subscribe to him, become a member. I am so excited about the idea of breaking that record. I think it's about time, man. It's about time we pass the torch. Who wants a 57 degrees Celsius record in Death Valley? That's lame. It's about time someone... Come on, let someone else have some fun. One of the other states, California, stop hogging the record to yourself. Disgraceful. Here's hoping. Jesus. You know what? As far as records go, let's just leave that one. We'll leave it over there. Leave it. We're good. It's funny because we've been experiencing a heat wave here in the UK. I mean, you got these, El Reno, whatever it's called, going on at the moment. And it's causing like temperature fluctuations pretty much all over the world at the moment. That's why we're getting this like this summer of crazy heat. Right now I'm literally recording this video with a fan directly here, like right here. There is a fan. Can you see it? Look, boop, fan pointing directly at me. Because this room is boiling. My PC died the other day. Had to get a new one. Couldn't even handle the heat. Couldn't run anything. Couldn't run my editing software. Couldn't run any games, live streams. Couldn't do anything. So we had to get a new one. And I know a bunch of you watching this are going to be going like the weather's hotter where you are and that sort of stuff. And of course, I totally feel for you. But it's just not something that we're used to here in the UK. But the reason I'm saying this is when you hear temperatures like that, it just blows my mind. When you hear that kind of level of heat, I can't fathom what that must be like. The hottest heat I've ever experienced in my life was in Egypt. And I don't remember how hot it got, but it was bloody hot. It was like, I think like 40 degrees Celsius, 42 or 43 or something like that. I think that's the hottest temperature I've ever experienced. But the heat is like not bad. Like the thermometers are all reaching that level, but it doesn't feel like that. It's weird. There's different kinds of heats all over the world, and it's an all right heat. Like you walk around it, you sunbathe and whatever, and you know it's fine. Yeah, it was like it's not bad. Like I said, you don't feel it too much. Whereas in the heat in England reaches 32 degrees and it feels like death. It like completely different. It's weird. And then the coldest I've ever experienced was in Canada. And I know you guys, again, I know you guys have probably experienced more extreme. But yeah, I went to Canada and it was what, like 32 minus Celsius, by the way. Something like that. And I remember when we arrived and it was minus 20 degrees Celsius. And we're like, wow, that's well cold. And we wanted to go get breakfast. So we left our hotel. We were in Calgary at the time. Left our hotel. My wife and I walked outside, and we just had normal clothes on, like a jacket and jeans and normal clothes. Freezing, just shivering the whole way to the restaurant and shivering the whole way back for breakfast. And then when we got there, we were like, right, we're never leaving the room again without thermals. And that was 20. So from the rest of the holiday, thermals all the time. Didn't realize how cold 20 was going to be. I thought you could just put a jacket on and be fine. No, it was cold. But yeah, that's it. But like I said, the idea of it being like hotter and at nighttime, when you're in your bed, when you're going to sleep and your house feels like cooking, not only must that temperature just be so terrifying, it must just be so vicious on your body and like your family. And yeah, it's so scary. Hearing stories like this is so interesting to me because like I said, it's just alien. And now we know what a heat burst is. And yeah, I'm like, I never knew that was a thing. And never even knew that was a thing or that could even occur. It's scary to think what Mother Nature can do, isn't it? It's nice to not be watching one of these videos and crying for once. I don't know how popular this reaction will be, but it was something that a few people have been asking for me to check out and something I was really curious about. So yeah, let me know what else you would like me to react to, if there's any other extreme weather videos or anything from America. It can be anything American related. It doesn't even have to be weather. If there's any reaction you guys would just love to see on this channel, fire it my way. I'll be happy to check it out. Please like and subscribe to support these videos, and yeah, huge shout out to Spiegel Studios. They're awesome. Anyway, I do hope you guys enjoyed this reaction. Thank you ever so much for giving me some of your precious time. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe in the hot summer weather. And as always, my friends, you will see me in the next video.